Hi everyone, we're a Mimicker, here to introduce all kinds of knowledge, even the stuff we didn't know about. So today we're going to get into a huge cultural moment that really grew out of this period of global quiet, the rise of a do.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, think back to 2020.
Right, everyone's isolated, locked down, the world just felt silent.
And out of that silence, Japan's pop scene just explodes with this deafening sound. We're talking about Adu's debut, Usewa. She was only 17.
Which translates pretty bluntly to, shut up.
Right. And it wasn't just a song, it was a social statement.
It felt like this roar that just came out of absolutely nowhere.
But it didn't, not really. It just felt that way to the mainstream. See, the song was like this sharp scalpel. It cut right into the generational trauma that was festering under Japan's culture of kuki-wo-yomu.
Okay, let's break that down for a second. Kuki-wo-yomu. We hear that a lot, but it's more than just being polite, isn't it?
Oh, it's so much deeper. It's this intense social conformity. You read the air, you never ever speak up or cause friction. You basically self-censor to keep the group happy, even if it's, suffocating you.
So young people were just swallowing all this frustration.
For decades. And then Adu's voice comes along, this mix of a quiet whisper that just erupts into a gut-wrenching roar, and it suddenly gives a voice to Gen Z's entire collective subconscious.
So this isn't just a one-hit wonder story.
Yeah.
You're saying she's not some isolated genius who got lucky.
Not at all. She's the ultimate result. She is the structural counteroffensive from Japan's internet subculture, specifically the utaite scene.
The cover singers.
Exactly. So our mission today is to really trace that shift from the very physical, visual idol culture of the 2000s to today's faceless audio-first stars. It tells you everything about who holds cultural power now.
So we're diving into the history of utaite, the absolute technical magic of Ato's voice, the sociology of why she was so necessary, and what it all means for Japan's culture on the world stage.
Okay, so let's unpack that. This utaite ecosystem. What actually is an utaite? How is that different from just a singer?
It's a really critical distinction, especially in Japan. A professional singer is a kashu. They're from an agency, they're trained, their image is everything.
The traditional pop star model.
Right. And utaite, on the other hand, started as an amateur. Someone posting covers or utaite tried to sing on sites like Nikoniko Duga or YouTube.
So just by using that name utaite, they're drawing a line in the sand.
A huge one. It was a way of saying, I belong to the Doujin community, the fan-made, self-published world. It was a conscious choice to say, don't compare me to the corporate music industry. It was about the culture, not the product.
And this all starts back in 2007 with the Vocaloid software with Hatsune Miku.
That's the big bang for this whole scene, yeah. When songs like Melt just went viral, human users started this massive trend of trying to cover them. The utaite trend.
Yeah, the challenge was basically, can a human do what this machine can do? And Ado is a pure digital native of this world. She said Nikoniko Duga was like her cultural homeland since she was in first grade.
And it sounds like this created a kind of brutal but effective training ground. The software was almost forcing them to get better.
That's the perfect way to put it. The composers, the Vocaloid, they could write for a virtual singer who never gets tired, who never needs to breathe.
So they wrote impossible music.
They wrote anti-human music. Super fast lyrics, insane vocal jumps, really complex time signatures, stuff that would physically injure a normal singer.
But for the utaite, that was the challenge.
It became a technical arms race. To get noticed, you had to at least match the Vocaloid, so it forced them to develop these incredible techniques practicing in their closets like Ado did, mastering vocal compression and transitions just to compete.
And then there's the feedback mechanism on Nikoniko, the Denmaku system. That sounds intense.
It's ruthless. But it's also ruthlessly effective. It's a real-time feed of comments scrolling over the video as it plays.
So if you're good,
if you're amazing, the screen is flooded with 88888, which is the sound of applause in Japanese internet slang.
as if you're not.
You get torn apart publicly. Or worse, you get silence. Imagine the entire internet judging you live as your voice is playing. It was this survival of the fittest environment that taught them how to grab a listener's emotions instantly.
This is where it gets really, really interesting for me. The internet trained her, sure, but what makes Adu's voice so different? What makes it so addictive compared to everyone else who came from that scene?
Well, it's her complete and total aesthetic rebellion. The standard for a female idol in Japan for decades was seiso.
Meaning pure, sweet, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Clear and clean. Adu just throws that all out. She builds her sound on Geigen uncontrolled growling and distortion, things you'd hear in metal, not J-pop.
Right, that raw, aggressive edge. How does she even do that without shredding her vocal cords? It sounds so violent.
It's incredibly technical. She's using her false vocal cords.
Her false vocal cords, what are those?
They're ventricular folds. They sit just above your true vocal cords, and she engages them just enough to generate that rough, distorted noise, the Geigen, while her true cords are still holding a super compressed high note.
So it's like a built-in distortion pedal.
That's a great analogy. It's like a distorted guitar, that aggressive ha, inusiwa. That's the sound. It's controlled chaos.
And that impurity, that's what makes it so cathartic for people.
Psychologically, yes. Those frequencies trigger the same response in our brains as, raw anger or pain. In a society that forces you to be quiet and clean, that unclean sound is the most honest thing you can hear. It's violently tearing down that whole kawaii aesthetic.
People also talk about her having the voice of 7 colors. She can just flip her entire persona in the middle of a line.
Yeah, that's her mastery of the mixed voice. She can just seamlessly slide the ratio of her chest voice or ground voice and her head voice or back voice.
So she can go from these really deep, almost masculine tones to a super sharp, childlike sound.
Instantly. You hear it all over a track like Show. It turns her songs into what you could call auditory cinema.
I like that. Auditory cinema.
Yeah, listen to Top Musica from the One Piece movie. She's not just singing. She's driving the plot with her voice from a calm narrator to a manic roar to this breaking, crying tone. It's a whole drama in just her vocal cords.
Okay, so we've got the training ground, we've got the technique. Let's talk about the timing. Why 2020? Why couldn't an artist like Adu have been this big in, say, the year 2000?
It really comes down to a collision of generational psychology and, frankly, economics. You have to compare the early 2000s Gen Y with the 2020s Gen Z.
The 2000s were all about growth narratives, right?
Yeah.
Dreams, effort, aspiration. There was still a sense of hope after the bubble burst.
And the idol's job back then was to be the ideal self. The message was, if I work hard, if I buy the merch, I can be shiny and successful like her.
A dream you could aspire to.
But Gen Z in Japan, they grew up in the last 30 years. All they've known is economic stagnation. The idea that hard work equals success is, it's broken for them. Their keywords are suppression, reality, survival.
So that aspirational model just doesn't work anymore. The celebrity's function had to change. Adu isn't offering a dream.
She's offering validation. That is the absolute key. She's not telling you that you can succeed. She's screaming the anger you feel because the system is failing you.
And when she identifies as an Inkea, a gloomy introvert,
it creates the strongest possible bond. It's a connection built on shared pain, not a shared dream.
The pandemic really just cemented all of this, didn't it? It killed the old model.
It completely destroyed it. Think about AKB48 in the mid-2000s. Their whole model was the contact economy.
Idols you could meet, the handshake events.
The high-touch model. The pandemic made that impossible, taboo even, and Adu's faceless avatar strategy, which might have been a weakness before, suddenly became her greatest strength.
Right. It got rid of all the visual bias, the lookism you see on Instagram.
Exactly. It proved that pure talent could win without selling an image. Listeners weren't focused on her looks. They were projecting their own anger onto that cartoon figure. The whole way we engaged changed overnight. It went from high touch to high tech. And that completely changed how we collect the data we collect on what's resonating with people.
And this wasn't just a thing in Japan. She crossed borders almost immediately. How did her sound change Japan's cultural export model?
It was a massive and I think necessary break from stereotypes. For so long, the global view of Japanese female singers was kind of stuck.
The high-pitched, super cute kawaii voice?
That orientalist gaze, yeah. Adu's aggressive technical growling just shattered that. It showed a totally different side of Japanese artistry.
So she wasn't just seen as an anime singer or a novelty. She was respected for her technical skill.
Absolutely. Vocal coaches all over the world started breaking down her technique, amazed that she could produce that level of distortion without injuring herself. It forced people to see her not as a cultural curiosity, but as a world-class vocalist. Period.
Her success really feels like the moment that the Nikoniko subculture finally conquered the mainstream. It's like the production model shifted from corporate boardrooms to bedrooms.
That's the ultimate prosumer concept, isn't it? The consumer becomes the producer. And it completely redefines what authenticity means to this new generation.
Right. Real in the 2000s was a hand you could shake at an event.
Physical transaction. Now, real is a voice that's not afraid to show its ugly, wounded parts. A do is this cultural crystal formed by digitalization, economic anxiety, and the pandemic. She's the proxy that lets Gen Z finally scream, "Shut up," at a world that told them to be quiet.
Wow. That's a really powerful way to put it. We've tracked this whole shift from, physical presence and dreams you chase to virtual anonymity and pain you share. It's the sound of a generation demanding to be heard, not just seen.
Which leaves a pretty provocative thought for you to chew on. In an age totally dominated by visuals, by TikTok, by Instagram ado, proved that the most primal, invisible thing, the human voice, still has the power to completely pierce your heart. So the question is, has she permanently broken the spell of lookism in pop music? Are we finally prioritizing raw auditory connection over visual perfection? Something to think about.
Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive. If you enjoyed our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and turn on the notification bell.